Following is paid for by the People's National Party.
My fellow Jamaicans, on February 25th, we will select the team that will form the government of our beloved country for the next 5 years. I wish to add another dimension to the case for voting for the People's National Party, based on its capacity, proven over the past 4 years, to develop and implement programs in the critical area of justice. We know that Jamaicans want greater access to justice and to have their cases heard quickly. We know that justice delayed is justice denied. Understanding the needs of our people, our focus over the past 4 years has been to tackle and reduce the systemic delays that contribute to the backlog of cases in our courts. This government has tackled it by adopting a holistic and strategic approach, implementing a wide-ranging justice reform program. However, we have done so within the wider fiscal program that is putting Jamaica's debt on a sustained downward path to secure our country's future. Indeed, the Ministry of Justice has played a central role in implementing the legislative framework required to support the government's fiscal program. It is fair to say that our overall legislative record has been impressive, passing laws for the betterment of the Jamaican people. Our performance compares favorably with the previous government, which only managed to pass 89 acts of parliament during their 4 years. In contrast, we have passed 123 acts through parliament in our 4 years, a 38% increase in legislative output. I will now highlight some of our significant achievements. We have passed transformational legislation to bring greater social justice to all Jamaicans with some historic achievements. The Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Amendment Act provides a simple mechanism to thousands of Jamaicans to have their records expunged for past minor ganja offenses, freeing them from the stigma of a criminal record so that they can pursue their career prospects and travel opportunities. Now, they can apply for a police certificate of their criminal record, and any past conviction for personal use of ganja is automatically expunged, and their police certificate is issued clean and clear. I am happy to report that since that measure became law in October 2014, 3,954 Jamaicans have already benefited from it. They no longer bear the hardship of a criminal record, preventing them from traveling or getting employment. The Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act has decriminalized personal use of small quantities of ganja, which is no longer subject to arrest, detention, or prosecution in court, and will not attract a criminal record. This enlightened approach has eliminated a long-standing source of conflict between the police and youths in communities across Jamaica. I'm pleased to report that decriminalization is already having a beneficial effect on the justice system, as shown by data from the Corporate Area Resident Magistrates Court. There has been a significant reduction in the court caseload. In 2014, ganja cases were 26% of all criminal cases filed in the court. Since April 2015, when the new law took effect, cases involving possession or smoking of ganja have been reduced by over 90%, 4,152 less cases. And this has resulted in the overall flow of criminal cases into the court being reduced by over 20% relative to previous years. This reform is enabling the court to allocate more of its time for disposing the remaining caseload. The constitutional rights of the Rastafari community are also recognized for the first time by this act, protecting their right to sacramental use of ganja. And it has created new economic opportunities through the emergence of a new medical ganja industry regulated by the Cannabis Licensing Authority established in 2015. A draft of the new regulations for this industry has been prepared, and our target is for the authority to begin receiving applications for licenses in March. This will provide small ganja farmers across Jamaica with an opportunity to make a lawful livelihood, and it will enhance Jamaica's tourist offering as a center of wellness for medical cannabis patients from around the world. I move now to the Disabilities Act, piloted by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security with assistance from my ministry. It has granted new legal rights to the disabled community in critical areas: education, employment, and housing. Jamaica was the first country to sign the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2006, and the new act has introduced these rights into our Jamaican law to ensure our citizens who have disabilities are protected and respected. We have also introduced a creative example of legislative engineering, which is the Administrator General Amendment Act. It allows the Administrator General to administer the estates of deceased persons without the need for a grant from the court. This speeds up the distribution of assets to the beneficiaries of those dead persons and also removes a substantial burden of those cases from the court system. The Act includes a special mechanism unique to Jamaica to deal with what we call multi-generational estates, of which there were thousands tied up for decades. These assets can now be distributed to tens of thousands of beneficiaries. They'll be able to use their land and their other property for their own economic advancement and help to grow the Jamaican economy. My fellow Jamaicans, these reforms have had a positive impact on the lives of ordinary Jamaicans. We have also introduced several measures relating to the court system and the trial process. The Evidence Amendment Act facilitates the admission into evidence of documents and facts that are not in dispute. It also contains a modern procedure for computer-generated evidence to be admitted in trials. We passed the Evidence Special Measures Act. It allows audiovisual technology to receive testimony from remote locations given by vulnerable witnesses or persons who are overseas, and allows a video recording of evidence by child victims. And we've amended the Jury Act to deal with delays caused by empaneling juries and the difficulties of that. And we've complemented it with a 400% increase in the daily stipend that are paid to our jurors, from $500 to $2,000 a day, the first such increase in over a decade, which will encourage our citizens to give jury service. We have upgraded the physical facilities at several of our courts across Jamaica. A new multi-story court facility beside the Supreme Court in Kingston is complete, with several additional courtrooms being added and a new spacious court registry, which is the engine of the court, supported by a modern high-density filing system. We've opened a new Western Civil Registry of the Supreme Court in Montego Bay so that cases can be filed in Western Jamaica for the first time. That facility also provides a new home for the Montego Bay Legal Aid Clinic and a new Western branch for the Administrator General's Department to handle estates of persons who die in Western Jamaica without making a will. This is an important step towards improving access to justice for persons in Western Jamaica. Our efforts to strengthen the machinery to combat corruption have also yielded results. The Integrity Commission Bill, which we intend to pass into law once we resume office, is part of a package of measures which we have passed into law to strengthen good governance. These efforts are already bearing fruit. Jamaica made a significant leap in the 2015 Corruption Perception Index World Rankings. We advanced 16 places to be among the top 11 most improved countries in the world. We are now in the top 25% in the Americas for the first time in 9 years. This underscores the progress being made by our country in combating corruption. So, what is our agenda for the next term? Our goal is to ensure that every Jamaican has equal access to an efficient and fair justice system. This administration has done much to facilitate the efficient disposal of cases and to make justice more meaningful for thousands of Jamaicans. But the challenges are great and much remains to be done. As we move forward, we must not allow the focus on improving the justice system to wane. We must sustain the strong momentum of achievements of this term of office. In our next term as government, we will build on these achievements and will be given high priority in the justice portfolio in the next term. We have already prepared the legislation to formalize restorative justice as part of the justice system so that less serious disputes can be resolved by reconciliation and healing, restoring broken relationships and harmony in communities, and avoid a spiraling series of reprisals rather than prosecuting those cases in court. We will pass the Integrity Commission Act to establish a single anti-corruption agency which will investigate and combat corruption. It will have prosecutorial powers and the ability to share and obtain information with other law enforcement and tax agencies. We will expand the Court of Appeal and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. On Monday of this week, Cabinet approved the signing of a contract to renovate premises which will be occupied by the Accountant General's Department, which now occupies the same building as the Court of Appeal and the DPP's office. This will enable us to expand the Court of Appeal and the DPP's office, which is much needed because they have a very heavy caseload. We will enact modern arbitration legislation governing the conduct of international and domestic arbitration, which will further improve the recognition of Jamaica as a place to invest and do business. We have prepared and will pass legislation to protect our children by strengthening the penalties for adults who commit violent crimes against kids. My fellow Jamaicans, the achievements over this term of office have resulted in significant improvement to the justice system, the impact of which is already being felt. We cannot allow the justice system to slide back into the chaos and inertia that characterized the last JLP administration. Our government has demonstrated the competence, courage, and commitment to improve the justice system. Our goal is for Jamaicans from all walks of life to feel that their cry, "We want justice," is heard and is being addressed in a meaningful way. The measures I've outlined for the coming term are not empty and unrealistic promises. We have delivered much in the past 4 years by strategic thinking, backed up by hard work and efficient execution. This track record gives credibility to our fundamental commitment, which is to continue implementing justice programs which will help to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, do business, and raise families. This is our pledge to our fellow Jamaicans from all walks of life. Your choice is clear. The PNP offers the best opportunity for the nation to grow and prosper. So, next week Thursday, vote wisely. Vote for the People's National Party. Put your ex beside the head. Step up the progress. Thank you for listening, and may God bless Jamaica, land we love.
Step up the progress. Secure a better Jamaica. Put your ex beside the head. Vote PNP.
The proceeding was paid for by the People's National Party.